Alright, we're going to need to revisit the yaw motor on this Phantom 4 Pro rebuild. Alright, let's begin by taking the camera back off. Well, the reason why we're going to take a look at this yaw motor, replace it, is because, and some of you eagle-eyed videographers might have noticed in the video I did over the church and the cemetery after this was repaired, there was quite a bit of Jello in the video. What I call Jello waviness in the video. If you look at this section here that I actually did not use in the video, you can see the waviness in the video, and you can see the pine tree, how it's sort of waving back and forth. That's considered Jello. And the problem is with the gimbal, usually in that situation, and in this case I focus in on the gimbal yaw motor, which had a damaged cable. I had reservations about using it. I might have mentioned it on the previous video. What I did was I turned the quad on, and it just felt the motor with it just sitting there without even moving. You could feel there was a buzz or vibration underneath the right underneath the yaw motor. So I've ordered a new one, and we're going to go ahead and replace it today. But there's a couple of steps that you need to do when you're replacing the yaw motor on these Phantom 4 Pros, and we'll get into that later. Let's get this off of here. And the reason why I felt that we should make a separate video on this is because of a certain step that you have to take. Pop this off here. Get my fingernails underneath there if I can. We'll take this bracket off here. Go ahead and pop this off here. And we can set our drone aside, because we're going to be focusing on the camera here for this repair. Alright, we'll take this gimbal control board off here. Remove this shielding tape. This is actually called Kapton tape. I did buy more of this. I might need to replace some of this since we've taken it off already once. All right, let's take off the shield here. I'll remove this cable just by pulling it out. These 4 screws will have to come out. I did look at this suspension to make sure there was nothing broken or bent even, and it all looks good. So I am focused on the gimbal motor as the issue. From what I understand, these do frequently break, go bad once you've had a crash and a broken yaw arm. There's so much shock that transmits up through the gimbal motor that it very often becomes damaged. This one seemed like it worked to stabilize the gimbal, but when I went to fly it and video it, then you could see there was an issue. Not surprised by the way that cable on the motor itself was damaged. Alright, let's get this out of here. Carefully feed this through here. And we'll need to take this cap off here. I'm going to move this camera over a little bit so I don't go off screen, which I tend to do. Let's see if I can just remove these 2 screws. This piece has to come off. Anyway. And just leave the gimbal or the cable connected. Or I should say secured to it. I don't know whether that's possible. There. We need to take this guard off here. And we need to take the back of this off too here. So let's take the guard off. Let's take the back off here. This is the back cover to the ESC for the gimbal itself. Sorry for all the water running in the background, folks. Whole family is here stuck in the house with the COVID-19 virus going on. So we're all here upstairs using the sink and everything else. So, to that end, I hope all of you out there are safe. and doing well and coping with it. Just remember, folks, this is a temporary situation and it will be gone. Might take some time, but it will definitely go away. In the meantime, like I said, I wish you all the best and hope everything works out for everybody out there. Alright, so let's go ahead and disconnect this yaw motor here. Pull that cable out. And we'll need to take these 3 screws out. It's a little more difficult to do. With everything assembled. Okay, well, there's our yaw motor. You can see the cable here where it's been hit. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a new yaw motor in. Alright, I have the new yaw motor here, and here's our old one. You might think, oh, we'll just pop into the new motor and we're good to go. Well, I have to credit my fellow YouTuber and drone enthusiast, Ted Keyser. I'm going to put a link to his video down in the comments. But you can't just put this new motor in. The electronics, from what I'm told, are actually calibrated to where the magnets are in the housing of your motor. And the sensors then go off that. The sensors are actually on the armature piece here. If you go ahead and you basically replace the entire motor with the new housing, your electronics won't be calibrated to it and your camera will be off center. Now, I've done one of these before and just replaced the entire motor without knowing this. And I got really lucky because the gimbal was mostly centered. It was only off center by a little bit. But you run the risk of, and it's like a 1 in 20 chance that you will be good and you'll have it centered or fairly centered. But most of the time you'll have the gimbal off center, way off center, over to one side. And of course, the app isn't meant to adjust. You can adjust the gimbal to a certain extent, but it's really not meant to compensate for something like this. So what we have to do is we have to take the new armature out of the housing and use the old housing. So let's head on into the shop, in the garage/shop. I have a drill press in there that we can use. You can use a punch and a hammer and just carefully punch it out. That's what Ted does on his video, and that's perfectly fine. I want to try just pressing it out with the drill press. So let's head into the shop. All right, we'll take a punch here, something around a 2.5 millimeter punch. Should do the job. We're going to go ahead and just support this here. Just close it enough so that the shaft can push through. Should be good right there. I'm going to go ahead and chuck this up in here. I should have set this up beforehand. I'll raise this up a little bit. Now let's try to push this out of here. You can see how that's coming out. There it goes. Now that's really stuck in there. There. See the pin there. And this is the part we're going to reuse. The sensors are actually right there. They're probably just MOSFET transistors. I think there's one there too. You can see that or not. And they can get damaged, from what I'm told. But I think the problem more is the ribbon cables probably has some damage to the wiring here, which is causing the issue. Now we're going to go get the new one. We need to do the same thing with the new one. Alright, let's push this one. This is the new one here. We're going to push this one out. There it goes. And that's our new piece we're going to use in the old housing. So let's go get the old housing. And we'll need to get this pin pushed back down. Now we'll take our old housing. Okay. See, get that flush, and we should be ready to put it back in. Make sure this still spins freely. It does. This is the new one here. All right, let's go back into the workshop. All right, let's go ahead and put this back in. Okay, and we'll put this back in the ESC. Put the cover back on. Actually, we need to put this protective cover on first. All right, let's put this bracket on here. Cover on. these holes lined up here. Okay, let's get this cable back in here. Gimbal control board goes back in. The little plastic linking switch in here. It goes this way actually. Alright, let's put the shielding tape back on. And I have some new tape here for the inside portion. Okay. Let's put this back on. We'll see what we get. Okay, we'll just put a couple screws in first and we'll test it. Okay. I'm feeling the bottom of the gimbal here, and I'm feeling almost no vibration at all. So I think we're going to be good, but we'll take it out and we'll test it. Nope, no vibration at all. It's a good sign. What I want to do is a gimbal recalibration. If I had just put this gimbal motor back in without swapping out the housings, this camera would be pointed off kilter, either too far that way or too far this way. And I read there's a 1 in 20 chance that you would get it right on dead center, but most of the time you would not get that lucky. So this is a step you have to take when you're replacing the yaw motor. We'll take it out for a flight. We'll see how it looks. You can see the difference in the footage. The footage on the right is the original footage with the Jello effect, and the footage on the left is after the repair. You can see there's a big difference now that's nice and stable. Alright folks, that'll do it for this video. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell notification so you get notified when I upload another video. Take care folks, and be safe out there. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.